You're watching Loudmouths, brought to you by Cheapo Air.
Welcome to Loudmouths, great debate presented by Cheapo Air. Gary Apple alongside Maria Marino. Great to be with you, Maria. Let's talk a little bit of New York Mets baseball right here and focus in on a couple of guys who really had tough first seasons in Queens, one being Robinson Cano, the other being Edwin Diaz. So of those two, who do you believe is most critical to 2020 success for the Mets? What's your take?
For me, it has to be Edwin Diaz because the Mets' single biggest weakness last year was their bullpen, and Edwin Diaz was the biggest culprit, a 5.59 ERA. He himself had 7 blown saves, which led to 7 losses for the Mets. As you know, the wild card race last year was super close, and the Mets finished the season just 3 games back from that wild card spot. Of course, a wild card team went on to win the World Series. So that alone is just such a huge difference maker. On top of it, Edwin Diaz gave up a single season major league record 15 home runs in the 9th inning. It's just absolutely crushing. And if the Mets didn't have that to worry about, boy, they would be in such a better place.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, Diaz was really in a bad way last year. I had a chance to visit with him down in spring training this year. He understands the responsibility on his shoulders, and he embraces that, looking to bounce back in 2020. You know, everything you say is true, but I think Robinson Cano is also really important for this Mets team from a number of standpoints. Number one, he's a guy who can carry your team for a month or two if he gets hot. We've seen see him do it throughout the course of his career. He's an 8-time All-Star. You know, on 6 different occasions, he's driven in at least 97 runs in his career. He dealt with injuries last year. He had the leg injuries on a few occasions. He got hit in the hands a couple of times. And so he battled injuries. I don't think we've seen the best of Robinson Cano in a Mets uniform. I think he really does have a chance to bounce back. And if he does, that will be a huge factor for the Mets in 2020.
All valid, Gary. I just think the chances of Cano getting close to that prime form, well, that's a really big if. And when you think about how crushing Edwin Diaz was, it was more than just the numbers. It was a complete morale killer for the team and put a ton of pressure on the coaching staff when it came to in-game pitching decisions. You take that away, and the door is open for the Mets to be successful.
No, they need Edwin Diaz to bounce back. The one thing I can say is that they do have Seth Lugo. They acquired Dylan Betances. They are hoping that Jeurys Familia can return to form. And so they do have somewhat of a buffer there if Diaz is not the guy who saved 57 games in Seattle back in 2018. 2 important guys for the Mets, Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz. Maria, great to be with you.
Thanks so much, Gary.
All right,
Take
stay
care.
healthy. Everybody out there, keep washing hands, and we will see you down the road. So long.